My husband is a stuffy traditionalist, the kind of man who refuses to sleep with me. To keep me at bay, he buttons his pajamas up to the very top button every night and even tucks a Bible under my pillow before we go to sleep. I'd finally had enough and was about to file for divorce when a string of comments suddenly materialized before my eyes. Poor Dragon Lord. This side character is so blind. He's not putting a Bible under your pillow. It's the art of 108 positions. Why don't you just touch him? If he wasn't so scared of freaking you out, it would have taken your heart a long time ago. I froze, pulling back the divorce papers I was about to hand him. Then I reached out and grazed his abs. The man's expression was indifferent. What are you doing? His voice was as cool and detached as ever. The floating comments continued to scroll past. Does the male lead have ninja training? How can he hold back like this? It's the third day of his heat. It's not his fault. He's just terrified of scaring her off. So he's forcing himself to be a perfect gentleman. He's hopelessly in love with her. I casually shifted my gaze away from the comments. Nothing. There was just a smudge on your shirt. I was just wiping it off for you. Arthur Price didn't say a word. Just stared at me for so long, I started to think he'd figured out I was planning to divorce him. Nervous, I was about to crumple the divorce papers in my hand when I saw him grab his bathrobe and head into the bathroom. My heart sank. I barely touched him and he had to go wash himself. Is he really that repulsed by me? But the comments were going wild. Silly girl, he's not washing you off. He finally lost it. She just touched him and he's already in the shower taking a cold one. Ah. He's in there whispering her name. My face flushed. An hour later, Arthur emerged from the bathroom, his voice much clearer. There's a charity gala hosted by the Landon Group tonight. You're coming with me. I frowned. I don't think so. Those events are always so boring and exhausting. Arthur reached out and grabbed my sleeve, his tone softening into something almost like a plea. Just this once. The comments exploded. Ah, he's lowering himself to ask her, but she's still going to refuse. And go find that model. The Dragon Lord, abandoned during his heat, only to find his wife with another man. He'll be heartbroken. And that's when the female lead comes in to save him. Their love story starts tonight. Just agree. If you don't, it's game over for you too. Tonight. A shiver ran down my spine. The refusal on the tip of my tongue took a sharp turn. Fine. I'll humor you. This time the comments went nuts. Wait, what? How did she agree? Arthur seemed to let out a quiet sigh of relief. I would never have noticed, but now a comment reading a dragon's irascible zone is there emboldened me to take a closer look. And that's when I saw it. The corners of his eyes were tinged with red, a stark contrast to his usual cool demeanor. A suspicious, feverish heat seemed to radiate from his entire body. On a whim, I reached out and touched his neck. Arthur shuddered violently, his breath catching in his throat. His Adam's apple bobbed. You. Startled, I snatched my hand back. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, I won't touch you again. This was the complete opposite of the tail wagging for pets reaction the comments described. At my core, I'm a shameless simp for a handsome face. The first time I saw Arthur Price 3 years ago, I was completely smitten. A year ago, when I heard the Price family was arranging a marriage, I fought my way through a sea of heiresses to marry into his family. Who knew that after tying the knot, I'd be living like a widow? But now I looked at the man whose face was beet red from a single touch. I stroked my chin with my free hand. Maybe I could hold out for a few more days. Based on these comments, we might actually sleep together soon. And I'm supposed to just hand him over to some female lead at a time like this? Not a chance in hell. Arthur's body was rigid, a flash of embarrassed anger on his cool face. Don't do that. He lowered his eyes, his puppy dog gaze looking a little misty. Stroking my chin like that. It's like petting a dog. It's humiliating. I snatched my hand back, forcing a laugh. Sorry, I zoned out. Would you believe I meant to stroke my own chin? Arthur's brow furrowed, his expression turning stormy. Zoned out, thinking about another man in front of me again? His gaze was intense. I saw you touching someone else the other day. Why won't you touch me? Even if I don't like it, you can't just not touch me. He pressed his lips together, swallowing the rest of his sentence. I was surprised by how much he was talking today, but also a little baffled. You say you don't like it, but you're insisting that I touch you. What the hell do you want? I really ship them. If only she could read minds, they wouldn't have all these misunderstandings. She's so clueless. No matter how hot the models are they hotter than Arthur? More handsome? Do they last longer? How would I know if he lasts long? We've never even done it. And who said I was going to find a male model? I was going to march right into that kitchen and make my darling husband a bento box. Then I'd take it straight to his office. I was going to see for myself if this guy was really the volcano of passion the comments claimed, ready to erupt from a single touch. While I was cooking, my dad called. Sweetheart, I hear Arthur is taking you to the gala tonight. I said, arranging cooked corn kernels into a heart shape. My dad's voice was earnest. Honey, maybe don't go out carousing tonight, okay? And delete some of those guys from your phone. You don't need so many contacts. I paused. I remembered going out for drinks with friends a few days ago. I had indeed added a lot of new contacts. Okay, Dad, I know. Gotta go. I'm making a special bento for Arthur. I have to deliver it soon. Maybe it was the thrill of my long-held crush finally seeing the light of day. But my hands were shaking by the time I got to the Price Corporation building. Suddenly, the comments started up again. Why is she here now? If I remember correctly, the female lead is applying for the secretary position today. She's probably in Arthur's office right now. This is going to be a train wreck of epic proportions. Can't watch. Not on my watch. I quickened my pace into the building. Just as I was about to get on the elevator, the receptionist stopped me. Hello. Do you have an appointment? An appointment? No, but The receptionist cut me off before I could finish. Without an appointment, you'll have to wait in the lobby. I can schedule one for you. Another receptionist sneered. Ashley, don't be so soft. We get women throwing themselves at Mr. Price all the time. Why book her an appointment? If you ask me, we should just throw out anyone trying to sleep her way to the top. The woman called Ashley frowned. Don't be rude. I sighed and pulled out my phone to call Arthur's executive assistant. Mr. Davis, I'm at the front desk. Could you come get me? 2 minutes later, to the utter shock of the receptionist, I was riding the private executive elevator with Mr. Davis. As we reached the office, before we even went in, I could hear voices from inside. A delicate female voice cried out, Mr. Price, what's wrong? Oh my God, you're burning up. Do you need help? Arthur's cool voice followed, laced with exhaustion. No, don't touch me. Just get out. The sound of shattering glass. Then the woman's voice rose. How can I leave you alone like this? Don't worry, I'll take you to the hospital. Arthur's voice was now thick with anger. I said don't touch me. Get away from me. Mr. Davis glanced at me, his expression awkward, but he pushed the door open for me. The room was a mess. A woman with flushed cheeks was holding onto Arthur's arm. When her gaze fell on me, her pretty doe-like eyes filled with a timid fear. She spoke demurely. Mr. Price is sick. As a secretarial candidate, it's my duty to take care of him. Mr. Davis's face hardened. He went over and supported Arthur himself. You haven't passed the interview yet. You're not needed here. Please leave. Arthur looked terrible. The hair at his temples was soaked with sweat. He looked at me, tried to speak, but only managed a pained grunt. Mr. Davis called to me. "Mrs. Price, please come closer." "Mr. Price, he needs you right now." I hesitated, feeling like something was about to happen if I got any closer. But then I thought, what's the worst that could happen? We end up sleeping together right here. Isn't that why I married him in the first place? What was I so afraid of? I gave myself a mental pep talk, took Mr. Davis's place, and supported Arthur. His body was terrifyingly hot the moment I touched him. He wrapped his arms around me, pulling me into a tight embrace. He rested his chin on my shoulder, his breathing ragged and chaotic. Mr. Davis closed the door and left. Arthur shifted restlessly against me like a big, miserable dog. What's happening? Did he just kick the female lead out? Side character is fine, too. Is this train about to leave the station? Go for it. Don't let that dragon get away. My body was stiff. I didn't dare move. I brought you lunch. Are you hungry? Want a bite? I can't with her. He wants to eat you, you idiot. Stop asking if he wants to eat and kiss him now. Are you guys crazy? If she satisfies him, what happens to the female lead? My VIP subscription is a waste. Go, girl, go. The comments were making me antsy. My inhibitions were crumbling. I was just about to grab Arthur's face and kiss him, when he pushed me away, his expression screaming, "Stay away from me." "Sorry, I'll handle this myself. I won't hold you like that again." He held me, he rubbed against me, and now he was saying he wouldn't do it again. What was that supposed to mean? Was I not good enough to hold? Fine. Should I go get that secretary for you? I shot him a sidelong glance, waiting for his answer. Suddenly, I felt something cold and scaly slithering around my calf. I looked down and almost fainted. A thick, black dragon tail, its scales shimmering in the sunlight. My hand trembled as I pointed. Why? Why you? Do monsters not even bother to hide anymore? Wrapping his tail around me in broad daylight? Arthur's body went rigid for a second. I reached down to grab his tail. Sorry, I wasn't listening anymore. It was terrifying. For a moment, I thought I was seeing Godzilla. I turned to run, but he yanked me back. The dragon tail wrapped around my ankle again, and Arthur's scorching body pressed against my back. His voice was hoarse and pleading like a wet, pathetic puppy. Don't be afraid of me, please. I didn't see anything. I won't tell anyone. Just don't. Before I could finish, sharp teeth grazed the skin on my neck. It didn't hurt, just tickled. I was even more terrified. Don't scare me. Put the teeth away. I'm just a normal person. I can't handle you taking a bite out of me. How could he be so cruel? I just wanted to sleep with him. And he wanted to kill me. His ragged breathing hitched. The pressure on my neck disappeared. Arthur let me go, steadied his breathing and said softly, "Go. I won't force you." I bolted. I'd been afraid of Godzilla since I was a kid. I thought, based on the comments, that lust would conquer fear. Arthur was so ridiculously handsome, I should have accepted him being a dragon. But after today, I was done. His tail comes out and I start shaking. How is this supposed to work? It's not. Wait, what? You're just going to leave him like that? He couldn't even control his S form. Leaving him now is like a death sentence. I stopped in my tracks, my heart twisting in indecision. Arthur was in danger. I turned and started walking back to his office. The comments erupted. Here we go, here we go. The iconic scene is about to happen. I just hope when she sees it, she doesn't blame him. In the end, I didn't go back, because the comments told me exactly what the iconic scene was. I couldn't take it either. I slapped my forehead and hurried out of the Price building. As I left the building, I saw a beautiful, fragile-looking woman standing by the entrance. When she saw me, she immediately glided over. "Hello, Mrs. Price. I'm here to apply for the position of Mr. Price's secretary." The woman's smile was practiced, the kind that didn't quite reach her eyes. She extended a delicate hand, her nails painted a soft pink that matched her designer dress. "My name is Vanessa Sterling. I've heard so much about you." I didn't take her hand. Instead, I clutched the bento box tighter against my chest, the warmth from the food seeping through the fabric of my shirt. The comments flared up again, scrolling faster than before. "Here she is. The female lead. This is where the original timeline splits. If she goes upstairs now, it's over. The Dragon Lord will bond with her instead." "No, no, no. We changed the timeline already. She needs to go back. Team original plot. I paid for this storyline." My stomach twisted. The fragile-looking woman in front of me was supposed to be Arthur's salvation? His destined partner? I studied her carefully, the way she held herself with practiced vulnerability, the strategic placement of her hand over her heart as if she were genuinely concerned. "Is Mr. Price all right?" Vanessa asked, her voice dripping with honeyed worry. I heard some commotion from outside. As someone interviewing for a position so close to him, I naturally feel concerned. The audacity of this woman. She'd been kicked out of his office not 15 minutes ago, and here she was, acting like a devoted employee to be. "He's fine," I said curtly, moving to step around her. Her hand shot out, fingers wrapping around my wrist with surprising strength. "Mrs. Price, I don't mean to overstep, but..." She leaned in, her perfume cloying and overwhelming. "I know what he is." My blood ran cold. The comments exploded. "Oh snap. She knows. She knows. Of course she knows. She's from a dragon hunter family in the original plot." "Wait, what? Dragon hunter?" I yanked my wrist free, my heart hammering against my ribcage. "I don't know what you're talking about." Vanessa's smile widened, revealing teeth that were just a touch too white, too perfect. "I think you do. I saw his tail myself when I was in his office. Magnificent specimen, really. Black scales, probably from the night drake lineage. Quite rare." She tilted her head, studying my face. "You ran away. I understand, it must have been quite a shock for someone, uninformed." The way she said uninformed made it sound like an insult. "But I'm different," Vanessa continued, smoothing down her dress. "My family has worked with his kind for generations. I know how to handle them during their difficult periods. I could help him. Help both of you, really." She's lying. Her family doesn't work with dragons, they hunt them. This is bad. This is so bad. Girl, run back upstairs. I swallowed hard, forcing my voice to remain steady. My husband doesn't need help from a failed job applicant. The position has already been filled. It was a lie, but I said it with enough conviction that Vanessa's smile faltered for just a moment. "Has it?" she asked, her tone sharpening. "Because Mr. Davis specifically scheduled my interview for today. I have the email right here." "Plans change," I interrupted, stepping around her with more force this time. "Have a nice day, Miss Sterling." I didn't wait for her response. My legs carried me back toward the Price building entrance, the comments urging me on. "Yes. Go back to him. Protect your dragon lord." But wait, she's still terrified of his tail. They were right. I was terrified. My hands were still trembling from seeing that thick, scaled appendage wrapped around my leg. The way it had moved with a mind of its own, the way Arthur's eyes had flickered with something ancient and dangerous. But Vanessa Sterling's knowing smile haunted me more than any tale could. I burst back through the building's revolving doors, ignoring the shocked looks from the receptionists. This time I didn't bother with permission. I headed straight for the executive elevator, slamming my hand against the button. "Mrs. Price." Ashley called out, but I was already inside, the door sliding shut. The elevator seemed to move in slow motion. My reflection stared back at me from the polished metal walls, flushed cheeks, wild eyes, hair escaping from its ponytail. I looked like a woman on the edge of something catastrophic. Elevator scene. Elevator scene. Someone write this down. She looks like she's about to make a terrible decision or the best decision of her life. Why not both? The doors opened with a soft chime. The executive floor was eerily quiet, the thick carpeting muffling all sound. Arthur's office door was closed, a thin strip of light visible underneath. I raised my hand to knock, then hesitated. What was I doing? Going back to a man who'd literally grown a dragon tail in front of me? A man whose body temperature could rival a furnace? A man who'd looked at me with such desperate longing before pushing me away? He pushed you away because he didn't want to scare you, dummy. He's probably in there suffering right now. The heat cycle doesn't just go away. It gets worse. My knuckles rapped against the wood before I could second-guess myself further. Go away, Davis, Arthur's voice came through, rough and strained. I told you I'm handling it. It's me, I called out, my voice smaller than I intended. Silence. Then the sound of something heavy falling to the floor, followed by Arthur's sharp intake of breath. You left, he said, and there was something broken in his tone that made my chest ache. I told you to go. I changed my mind. I tried the door handle. Locked. Arthur, let me in. No. His voice was closer now, like he was standing right on the other side of the door. I can't, you saw what I am. You were scared. I won't, I can't be the reason you look at me like that again. Oh God, he thinks she hates him now. Someone tell him she came back. She's literally at the door, you idiot dragon. I pressed my forehead against the cool wood, closing my eyes. I met Vanessa Sterling downstairs. Arthur's sharp inhale was audible even through the door. Did she hurt you? No, but she told me she knows what you are. She said her family works with dragons. I paused, remembering the comment's warning. Arthur, I don't trust her. You shouldn't. His voice was barely a whisper now. The Sterling family doesn't work with dragons. They hunt us. Us. He said us. Like he was part of something bigger, something ancient and hunted and desperate to survive. Then why was she applying to be your secretary? To get close to me. To study me. A bitter laugh escaped him. Or to kill me, once she'd learned enough. It's what they do. My hands curled into fists against the door. Over my dead body. The words surprised both of us. The silence stretched out, heavy and charged. Why did you come back? Arthur finally asked, his voice so quiet I had to strain to hear it. Because. I struggled to find the right words. Because some horrible woman told me she could handle you better than I could. Because the thought of you with anyone else makes me want to commit violence. Because I've been in love with you since the moment I first saw you, and I didn't fight my way into this marriage just to give up because you have a tail. She said it. She finally said it. Best confession ever. I didn't fight my way into this marriage just to give up because you have a tail is going on my tombstone. The lock clicked. The door opened slowly, revealing Arthur in a state I'd never seen before. His perfectly styled hair was a mess, his shirt unbuttoned and hanging open, revealing the planes of his chest and those abs I'd only touched once. His eyes were no longer their usual cool gray, they glowed with an inner fire, golden and ancient. And behind him, coiled on the floor like a sleeping serpent, was that black dragon tail. He looked at me with such raw vulnerability that my fear evaporated like morning mist. You're not scared? He asked, his voice hoarse. I stepped inside the office, closing the door behind me. I'm terrified, I admitted. But not of you. I'm scared of losing you. I'm scared of what that sterling woman might do. I'm scared that I waited too long to tell you how I feel. Arthur's eyes widened. The tail behind him twitched, then slowly, hesitantly, moved toward me. Here it comes. Don't freak out, don't freak out. Remember, it's just another part of him. The scaled appendage wrapped gently around my ankle, just like before. But this time, I didn't run. Instead, I knelt down and touched it. The scales were surprisingly smooth, cool to the touch despite the heat radiating from Arthur's body. I could feel the strength in it, the barely contained power, but also something else, a trembling uncertainty, as if the tail itself was waiting to see if I'd reject it. It's beautiful, I whispered, tracing the pattern of scales with my fingertips. Arthur made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. You can't mean that. I looked up at him, still kneeling on the floor with his tail wrapped around my ankle. I married you for this exact reason, Arthur. Because you're you. All of you. He sank to his knees in front of me, his hands coming up to cup my face. His touch was burning hot, but I didn't pull away. I'd been in love with you since you crashed that family dinner just to introduce yourself to me, he confessed, his thumb stroking my cheek. I've spent every night for the past year sleeping next to you, wanting nothing more than to hold you, but terrified that I'd lose control. That you'd see me for what I really am and run screaming. The Bible under my pillow, I said, realization dawning. It wasn't actually a Bible, was it? A faint blush colored his cheeks. It was a manual. On dragon-human relationships. I was trying to figure out how to tell you the truth. The art of 108 positions. I told you. Wait, so it was educational. Just, a different kind of education. I laughed, the sound bubbling up from somewhere deep in my chest. You're such an idiot. I thought you were trying to keep me away. I was trying to keep you safe, he corrected, his forehead coming to rest against mine. From myself. Well, stop it, I said firmly. I don't need protecting from you. I need. I swallowed hard, my courage wavering for just a moment before coming back stronger. I need you. All of you. Tail and all. Arthur's eyes blazed brighter. The heat cycle, he warned, his voice rough. It's not pretty. I'm not fully in control. If we do this now, I might hurt you. You won't, I said with absolute certainty. How can you be sure? I smiled, reaching up to touch the side of his face. Because you've spent a year sleeping next to me, wanting me, and you never once lost control. Because you pushed me away even when it was clearly killing you. Because you're the most stubborn, honorable, frustrating man I've ever met. Kiss him. Kiss him. Kiss him. What are you waiting for? If they don't kiss in the next 5 seconds, I'm rioting. I closed the distance between us, pressing my lips to his. For a moment, Arthur froze, as if he couldn't quite believe this was happening. Then he kissed me back with a desperation that stole my breath away. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me against his overheated body, and the tail around my ankle tightened just slightly, possessive but gentle. The kiss was everything I'd imagined and nothing like I'd expected. It was tender and fierce, sweet and desperate. It tasted like 3 years of longing and 1 year of restraint finally breaking free. When we finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Arthur rested his forehead against mine again. I love you, he whispered. I've loved you for so long. I love you too, I whispered back. Even the scaly parts. He laughed, the sound lighter than I'd ever heard from him. Especially the scaly parts? Don't push it, I teased, but I was smiling. They're so cute I could die. This is better than the original plot. Forget the female lead. This is the real love story. Arthur pulled back slightly, his expression turning serious. Vanessa Sterling. She's not going to give up easily. If she knows what I am, she'll come after me. After us. Then we'll deal with her, I said firmly. Together. Together, he echoed, testing the word like it was precious. The tail unwrapped from my ankle and instead coiled loosely around both of us, creating a protective circle. I felt the warmth of it, the way it moved with an intelligence all its own, and marveled at how quickly my fear had transformed into acceptance. "I brought you lunch," I said suddenly, remembering the bento box I'd dropped somewhere near the door. "It's probably cold by now." Arthur's eyes softened. "You made me lunch?" "I made it into a heart shape and everything," I admitted, feeling my cheeks heat. "The comments said you were a volcano of passion ready to erupt, and I wanted to see for myself." "Comments?" Arthur asked, confused. "Oh. Right." I'd never explained the floating commentary that had been guiding me through all of this. "It's complicated," I said. "I'll explain everything. But first." I glanced at the office door. "We should probably make sure Vanessa Sterling doesn't try to sneak back in here." Arthur nodded, his expression hardening. "I'll call security. Have her banned from the building. And we need to talk to Mr. Davis about vetting future applicants more carefully." "Agreed." He stood, pulling me up with him. The tail retracted slowly, disappearing back into wherever it came from. Within seconds, Arthur looked almost normal again, if you ignored the disheveled hair and unbuttoned shirt. I reached out and started buttoning his shirt, my fingers working with a familiarity I hadn't known I possessed. "We should also probably attend that charity gala tonight." Arthur's hands covered mine, stilling my movements. "Are you sure?" "After everything." "I'm sure," I interrupted. "I want to go. I want everyone to see us together. I want Vanessa Sterling to know that she has no place in our lives." Power couple energy. Yes. Show up and show out. Arthur in a tux. I repeat, Arthur in a tux. Arthur's smile was slow and devastating. "As you wish, Mrs. Price." The way he said my name, his name, sent shivers down my spine. "But first," he said, his voice dropping to a lower register, "I believe we have 3 years of misunderstandings to make up for." My breath caught. "Here? Now?" "Here. Now." His eyes gleamed with that golden fire again. "Unless you'd rather wait?" I grabbed his collar and pulled him down for another kiss, my answer clear. The comments went absolutely wild. 6 hours later. The charity gala was held in the grand ballroom of the Landon Hotel, all crystal chandeliers and marble floors. I walked in on Arthur's arm, wearing a dress I'd hastily purchased on our way over, a deep emerald green that brought out the gold flecks in Arthur's eyes. Eyes that hadn't left me since we'd arrived. "You're staring," I murmured, smiling behind my champagne flute. "I'm appreciating," he corrected, his hand warm against the small of my back. "There's a difference." The gala was exactly as boring as I'd feared, stuffy businessmen making stuffy conversation about stuffy investments. But with Arthur beside me, his thumb tracing absent circles on my back, I found I didn't mind as much. "Mr. Price." "Mrs. Price." A jovial voice called out. We turned to find Harold Landon himself, the host of the evening, approaching with a wide smile. "So glad you could make it." "Thank you for the invitation," Arthur said smoothly, shaking the man's hand. "And Mrs. Price," Harold turned to me, "I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting properly. Your husband speaks of you often." "He does?" I glanced at Arthur in surprise. Harold laughed. "Oh yes. Just last month at the shareholders' meeting, he spent 20 minutes explaining why he needed to leave early, something about making sure he was home for dinner with you." Arthur's ears turned slightly red. "Harold." "And the month before that," Harold continued, clearly enjoying himself, "he turned down a golf outing because it conflicted with your Sunday morning routine." Arthur is a simp. Arthur is a simp. The Dragon Lord is whipped. This is the content I live for. I bit back a laugh, squeezing Arthur's arm. "Is that so?" "It's not, I simply," Arthur cleared his throat. "Harold, don't you have other guests to attend to?" "Nonsense. This is far more entertaining." Harold winked at me. Your husband is the talk of the business world, you know. Most eligible bachelor for 3 years running, until you came along. There were quite a few disappointed ladies. Were there? I asked innocently. Oh yes. In fact, Harold's expression shifted slightly. I believe one of them is here tonight. Vanessa Sterling? She's been asking about you both. Arthur's hand tightened on my back. Is she now? Yes, arrived about an hour ago with her father, Victor Sterling. They're over by there they are. I followed Harold's gaze to where Vanessa stood with an older man, both of them watching us with unsettling intensity. Vanessa was wearing a white dress that made her look like a virginal sacrifice, all flowing fabric and strategic innocence. If you'll excuse us, Arthur said tersely, already steering me away. But Vanessa was faster. She glided across the ballroom with practiced grace, her father following behind like a shark scenting blood. Mr. Price, she said, her voice sugary sweet. What a surprise to see you here. I thought you'd be indisposed after this afternoon. The threat was barely veiled. Arthur's jaw tightened. Miss Sterling, he said coldly. I thought we made it clear that your application was rejected. Did you? She turned to her father. Daddy, Mr. Price says my application was rejected. But I don't recall receiving any official notification. Victor Sterling smiled, and it didn't reach his eyes. An oversight, I'm sure. Vanessa is quite qualified for the position. Perhaps we should discuss this somewhere more private? There's nothing to discuss, I interjected, stepping slightly in front of Arthur. The position has been filled. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. Has it? And who, pray tell, was hired? That's confidential information, Arthur said smoothly. How convenient. Victor's smile widened. You know, Arthur, I've been meaning to speak with you about some unusual reports I've been hearing. Strange occurrences at the Price Corporation. Equipment malfunctions. Temperature fluctuations. Staff complaints about. Baseless rumors, Arthur interrupted, his voice hard as steel. If you have concerns about my company's operations, you're welcome to file a formal complaint with the board. Oh, I'm not concerned about your company, Victor said, his tone light but his eyes deadly serious. I'm concerned about you. My family has a history of helping troubled individuals. People with certain conditions that require specialized care. He's threatening Arthur. The audacity. Someone shut this man up. My temper flared. The only thing troubling here is your daughter's inability to accept rejection gracefully. Vanessa's perfect facade cracked slightly. Excuse me? You heard me, I said, channeling every ounce of the steel I'd inherited from my own formidable father. Your application was rejected. Deal with it like an adult instead of stalking my husband. Stalking? Vanessa laughed, but it was sharp-edged. I'm simply concerned about his well-being. Unlike some people, I understand what he truly needs. And what would that be? I challenged. Someone who understands his nature. Someone who isn't scared of the truth. Her eyes glittered with malice. Someone who won't run away when things get difficult. Arthur's arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me against his side. My wife is the only person I need. And she's never run from anything in her life. The pride in his voice made my heart soar. Is that so? Victor's smile was predatory now. Tell me, Mrs. Price, how much do you really know about your husband? About his family history? Enough, Arthur said, his voice dropping to a dangerous growl. But I was curious now. What family history? Oh, hasn't he told you? Vanessa's smile was triumphant. The Price family has quite the interesting lineage. Very old blood. Very rare. We're done here, Arthur said firmly, already turning us away. You can't hide forever, Arthur. Victor called after us. People will start to notice. They'll start to ask questions. Arthur didn't respond, just kept walking until we were out of earshot, tucked into a quiet corner of the ballroom. "Are you all right?" I asked, looking up at him. His jaw was still tight, his eyes flickering with barely contained fury. "They know too much." "Let them know," I said fiercely. "I don't care what they think they know about you. I'm not going anywhere." Arthur looked at me for a long moment, his expression softening. "You're extraordinary, you know that?" "I'm stubborn," I corrected. "There's a difference." He laughed, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. "Stubborn. Extraordinary. Beautiful. Brave." He pressed a kiss to my forehead. "All of the above." "I'm not crying, you're crying. Get you a man who looks at you the way Arthur looks at his wife." "Couple goals." "We should leave," Arthur murmured. "Before Victor tries something more direct." "No," I said firmly. "We're staying. We're going to enjoy this gala, dance, make small talk, and show everyone here that we're untouchable. Together." Arthur's eyes gleamed with admiration. "As you wish." We spent the next 2 hours doing exactly that. We danced. Arthur was an excellent dancer, moving with a grace that probably came from his dragon heritage. We made conversation with business associates, with Harold Landon, with anyone who approached us. And through it all, I could feel the Sterling family watching us. Waiting. "They're planning something," Arthur murmured as we swayed on the dance floor. "I know," I said. "But whatever it is, we'll handle it. Together." His arms tightened around me. "Together," he agreed. As the song ended and we returned to the edge of the ballroom, Mr. Davis appeared, looking worried. "Sir, Mrs. Price," he said quietly. "We have a situation. Someone's been attempting to access your office remotely. Our IT department traced it back to an IP address registered to Sterling Industries." Arthur's expression darkened. "When?" "About 20 minutes ago. They were trying to access your private files." "Oh hell no. They're trying to find evidence. Burn it all down." "Did they get in?" I asked. "No, ma'am. Our security protocols held." "But..." Mr. Davis hesitated. "They're very persistent. This was the fourth attempt tonight." Arthur exchanged a look with me. "We need to leave." "Wait," I said, an idea forming. "Mr. Davis, can we feed them false information? Make them think they succeeded?" Both men stared at me. "What kind of false information?" Arthur asked slowly. "The kind that makes them think you're something you're not. Send them on a wild goose chase." I smiled. "Or better yet, make them think I'm the one with the unique heritage." "Genius." "Misdirection. This girl is playing 4D chess." Arthur's eyes widened. "That's actually brilliant. I have my moments." I turned to Mr. Davis. "Can you do it?" "I'll have IT on it immediately," he said, already pulling out his phone. As he walked away, Arthur pulled me close. "You realize this means they'll come after you instead." "Let them try," I said confidently. "I'm not the one who needs protecting, remember?" "You're insane," Arthur said, but he was smiling. "I'm in love," I corrected. "There's a difference." He kissed me right there, in the middle of the ballroom, in front of everyone. When we pulled apart, I could see Harold Landon beaming at us, and across the room, Vanessa Sterling's face was twisted with fury. Perfect. 3 weeks later. The Sterling family had indeed taken the bait. For the past 3 weeks, they'd been investigating me, following me, trying to find proof of whatever supernatural heritage they thought I possessed. They'd found nothing, of course, because there was nothing to find. Meanwhile, Arthur and I had used the time to strengthen our defenses, both legal and magical. It turned out that being married to a dragon came with certain advantages, including connections to an entire hidden community of supernatural beings. "The council has agreed to provide protection," Arthur said one evening as we sat in our living room, his tail wrapped contentedly around my waist. I'd gotten so used to it that I barely noticed anymore. That's good, I said, absently running my fingers along the scales. What about the sterlings? They're being handled. Arthur's smile was sharp. Victor Sterling made the mistake of threatening a council member's daughter last week. He's currently being investigated for several violations of supernatural law. Good, I said with satisfaction. And Vanessa? Vanessa has been offered a position in Sterling Industries' London office. Very far away from here. Arthur pressed a kiss to my temple. She's leaving next week. Good riddance. Bye, Felicia. Team Dragon Lord wins. I smiled, settling deeper into Arthur's embrace. So we're safe? We're safe, he confirmed. And you're stuck with me? Hopelessly, completely, eternally stuck with you, he agreed. I turned in his arms, facing him fully. Good. Because I have a confession to make. His eyes widened slightly. What kind of confession? I may have, accidentally, possibly, started reading that manual you hid under my pillow. Arthur's face turned red. You what? Position 63 looks particularly interesting, I said innocently. Think we could try it sometime? The tail around my waist tightened as Arthur's eyes began to glow with that familiar golden fire. I think, he said, his voice dropping to a dangerous purr, that could be arranged. Oh my God. It's happening. Finally. Best. Ending. Ever. As Arthur pulled me into a kiss that promised very interesting things to come, I caught one last floating comment. This is why we changed the timeline. This is the real love story. Dragon Lord and his fearless wife, living happily ever after. And as the comments faded away, leaving just me and Arthur and the life we were building together, I couldn't help but agree. This was exactly the ending we deserved. Epilogue 6 months later. Arthur. The pot is boiling over. I rushed into the kitchen to find my husband, tail out, scales shimmering in the afternoon light, frantically trying to manage 3 different dishes at once. I'm aware, he called back, using his tail to grab a pot holder while his hand stirred something that smelled suspiciously like it was burning. Why are you cooking with your tail out? I asked, laughing as I moved to help him. Because you said you wanted a 5-course meal for our anniversary dinner, and apparently, I need all available appendages to make that happen. I kissed his cheek, taking over one of the pots. I was joking, you know. I would have been happy with takeout. Absolutely not, Arthur said seriously. Our first anniversary deserves better than takeout. He's cooking for her. With his tail. I love everything about this. The comments had never really gone away. I'd learned to live with them, my own personal Greek chorus narrating my life. Sometimes they were annoying, but mostly they were helpful, and occasionally hilarious. Did you see the latest news about the Sterlings? I asked, chopping vegetables while Arthur's tail set the table behind us. Victor's been officially stripped of his business licenses, Arthur said with satisfaction. And Vanessa's engagement to that London banker was announced yesterday. Good for her, I said, and I meant it. Everyone deserved to find happiness, even dragon-hunting socialites. The doorbell rang. I'll get it, Arthur said, starting to move. Like that? I gestured at his very visible tail. Oh. Right. The tail retracted with a shimmer of magic, and Arthur headed for the door, now looking perfectly human. I heard voices in the foyer, Arthur's warm greeting followed by my father's booming laugh. Surprise! Dad called out as he entered the kitchen, my mother right behind him. We thought we'd stop by to wish you a happy anniversary. Dad. Mom. I hugged them both, genuinely happy to see them. You didn't have to. Nonsense, Mom said, eyeing the kitchen with approval. Besides, we wanted to give you your gift in person. Dad handed over a large, wrapped package. Open it. I carefully unwrapped it to reveal a beautiful photo album, its cover embossed with dragons. We had it custom made, Mom explained. For all the memories you two are making. I flipped through the pages, some filled with photos from our wedding, others blank and waiting for new moments. And on the very last page, a quote inscribed in gold. True love isn't found in perfection, but in accepting every scale, every flaw, every unexpected revelation. It's choosing each other, again and again, dragon tail and all. Tears pricked my eyes. Mom, Dad, this is beautiful. Arthur wrapped his arm around my waist, looking over my shoulder at the album. Thank you, he said sincerely. Both of you. Dad clapped him on the shoulder. You take care of our girl, son. Always, Arthur promised, and I knew he meant it. This is too wholesome. I'm not crying, you're crying. Best timeline ever. After my parents left, loaded down with leftovers because Arthur had indeed made way too much food, we settled on the couch together, the photo album open between us. What do you think our next chapter will be? I asked, leaning against his shoulder. Arthur's tail emerged again, wrapping around us both like a protective blanket. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. Together, I agreed, kissing him softly. And as the comments faded into comfortable silence, I thought about how far we'd come, from a loveless marriage on the brink of divorce to this, real, deep, messy, beautiful love. Sure, my husband was a dragon. Sure, we'd been targeted by hunters and threatened by business rivals. Sure, our life together was anything but conventional. But it was ours. Every scale, every challenge, every perfect imperfection. And I wouldn't change a single thing.